And let's learn how to use, what the fuck? Let's learn how to use the PP80 from the game Syndicate. The PP80 is a pistol that converts people, and basically it's a weapon that we all have to be armed with, using our, just from the game Syndicate on the SNES. A seeing double code, which basically, like, if you put a finger in front of your face and you go like this, you can now see two things, but now then this little area is the screen in between it. Here we'll realize that this is actually this when the eyes enlarge and see that. So what we are learning is what I learned in a dream about 2 or 3 weeks ago, or 4, and read it out of Dodo Chichen. Is the PP80 being ready to be fired? A good casual saying is double may gun. You know, is something that people have said before that has to do with this PP80. Red Dead, you know, there's a certain way that this is written, but it is basically that the only way that you can speak this way is if you see yourself as a double in other people. That way you can only communicate with them when you have this language spoken. It's when you're seeing 2 fingers when there's 1. You know, so when they're seeing this, you know, we're really seeing this one, you know. And we can see this one or this one at all times, you know, so it makes, you know, just like a screen does, you know, it has a dimension. You know, it's like an Xbox, you know, it's like a screen. Okay, so Read It Out of Dodo Chichen is basically, it happened when I was sleeping on my couch and I was on the right side of it. I was laying like this sleeping when I was living on my vanilla colored couch, and then all of a sudden my dad pulls up about 20 minutes later, 5 minutes later or something, but he wasn't here yet and I was sleeping. And then all of a sudden I knew he was on his way, and it said, Read It Out of Dodo Chichen, Read It Out of Dodo Chichen. And I kept saying it because it sounded cool, you know. Let's take a look at Syndicate. Okay, so this game, you know, is interesting. And here how it has that music going on, and it kind of sounds strange, you know. And you know, the only thing that came to me as a code was Read It Out of Dodo Chichen. And there's other words for it, but so here's what we're looking at on this thing. It's really advanced. Okay, this is something that is just badass, alright? So what we're looking at is this little gun right here. Really, any of these weapons are looks like a hot glue gun. That's basically the PP80. That's firepower of the PP80. It's basically, you know, you're looking at these paraphernalia things on these little windows, seeing what they mean. See how these people walk and they just have this little graphic here? That's basically, I'm looking at, I mean, just from what I got from the dream, you know, I'm trying to, you know, I gotta comprehend it. You know, and you can see how he's walking, and it's like this, you know, and I mean, it can't really move that much, you know. So I'm figuring that there's probably 8, you know, like directions, up, left, down, and right, and it kind of equates to the walkings like this. You know, like there's probably 8 frames in that walk, you know, or at least 4, and then it would have a backwards on each way that it's facing. Not that it really matters, but Anyway, you know, that, you know, basically, you know, taught me, you know, about this self-defense weapon. And basically, it's like a gun that's aimed right at you, the PP-80. And it's a personal defense weapon that we can all carry with each other, because as long as you're armed with that, you should be good. If you can say "read it out of kitchen," then there's no way anybody can mess with you, you know, because you are armed, you know, if you can say it correctly, you know, because it's a language in itself. It's like, you ever feel like, you know, you could know martial arts if you knew Japanese, and you're like, shit, I knew Japanese, nobody can fuck with me, man. I mean, I tried some karate, but I mean, I really know Japanese, so I mean, if I can speak Japanese around somebody, you know, PP-80 answers the door, you know. So anyway, double made gun is some kind of saying that I got from my cousin in one of his backwards songs, and it contains that PP-80 in it. And you know, PP-80 sounds like PP-A dick, you know, or you know, basically, you know, that little threatening muscle thing. But I guarantee you that the PP-80 is completely neutral, you know. But what it is basically a defense mechanism, and it's basically like playing Doom, you know. And I know this is kind of hard to explain, but you have to realize that you're having a dream, and you have to have a way for that to come to you, you know, when you hear it, and then you just start feeling a chant with these 8 digits of numbers. You have to be able to say those 8 twice, you know, so you can say, you know, read it out of order kitchen, and then it says read it out of order kitchen, and it sounds the same on both of them. You know, and it's like having a weapon, and, you know, it sounds like. And then it's like aiming a red dot right at your head, you know, is what I see. You know, but I know that, see, if I have a red dot aimed at my own head, I'm not going to shoot myself. You know, so it might as well be, you know, like I'm playing Doom, and then all of a sudden, you know, read it out of order kitchen, you know, is where I'm, you know, if, I mean, I have to be balanced to say it, but it's like if I'm aiming at a wall and then there's like nothing there, but there's a red dot right there, or just a wall. You know, I'm not going to shoot something because I'll waste my ammunition, is the point. And, you know, that idea was kind of fueled, you know, by listening to a lot of rap music, and everybody's going and just acting like they're going to shoot somebody. And I mean, someone probably, you know, I mean, I really don't feel sorry for anybody who wanted to get shot that bad, you know, just to get shot. But I advise against it. It is a waste. There's no point in it at all. And anyway, but I mean, there are actually, you know, I mean, there's concentrations, but it has nothing to do with it. There's a lot to do with it. But anyway, the thing is that you have to have, okay, how this little language works is a language, and it's one that, you know, has to do with, I don't really know. I haven't fully decided what this is, but I know that, for one, it is foolproof because, see, in English, you can say the word English with an accent, and that is the failure in it, because, see, if you say something, English has 3 dimensions. It has 2/3 have to be right at all times, and 1/3 has to be wrong at all times, you know. And in this one, it only has 1 code, so it's like Unicode. It's like ASCII text, you know, ASCII. And so basically, you know, when I'm seeing double on this, I'm seeing the fact that what I just said, I just saw here and here. Read it out of Dodo Chichen is also read it out of Dodo Chichen, and is also read it out of Dodo Chichen to infinity. So it is a perfect replication of what was just said again. So it's like if I'm looking through a field and there's a hallway, and I know there's someone else on that side where there's no one at, before I see someone, you know, and I was the Terminator, for example, you know, but, you know, human would, if he was human, you know, he would be able to know that, you know, read it out of Chichen is like being ready to, you know, like shoot him, right? But then there's 2 people on both sides of this hallway, so instead of it looking like there's one of those dummy pop-ups in the military that looks like one of those little cardboard terrapins, you know, and you, army. So, I mean, it doesn't really sound crazy, but you have to learn that Mad Libs are really difficult when you say, walk, the silly squirrel, jumped up and down. That sounds perverted to me. It sounds like every single one of these persons got shot. Because it just sounds like just redundant bullshit, that I just wouldn't like. I would want to be able to talk in this way, but you can only have it from a transmission in here. So you have to literally be told what to say with it, is how it works. So when you hear something like ready dot auto attention with your PP80, if you are going to shoot something, it's not going to be lethal, is the point. And if you really do shoot someone in real life, if we're computerized enough and have rules that, obviously exist, would be there, then we have to figure out how these Mad Libs can fall in and how, playing this game gave me the ability to figure that out. And, hold on. Okay, so, yeah, so, when you say, a Mad Lib like that, for me, when someone looks at you in the eye like this, and they're like, look at me in the eye, I'm still at the part where, there's like a devastating, dead person there, like me and my dad getting in an argument, for example. Or, I mean, just, automatically, you look down and you feel afraid, is what I'm learning. So anyway, I think that's pretty crappy. Has nothing to do, what I just said is complete babbage and garbage. It's useless, it's not needed. So when there's words, you can say, the went, and there's a line here, and it could be filled in with something, but see, if you use this shit, you don't really, this is not going to be filled in. So all you're doing is you have blanks, and see, that makes a double, which is 16, I know. I also know that there is a finite number of these, of the syllables here, and I don't know what they all are, and I don't give a fuck. I mean, I really would, I am going to, if I can find, enough interest, is to want to, finish making this, and get all of those down and kind of log them and see, what the number is of those, which I think is interesting. And then I can see how many syllables we get, to use. And how they're generated is another thing. How did I get it in the dream? Because it's supposed to be something that is a code, or some form of thing, And then you have to picture that there's, 8 of them. And also a good thing about this 16 is the fact that it's an easy code. It's just like the whale code. You need to go ahead and ruin the fun and sperm whale, because all the sperm whales do this shit and they do clicks, and this shit is more advanced than theirs, and they would be jealous if you could do these codes around, and they probably understand what they mean because they have bigger brains. We are as big as their fucking brain is. How did you like sperm, What the hell makes you think when there's so much freaking sperm everywhere? That's all people think about today, Not to mention, Okay. So, yeah, so there's these Mad Libs, but you can't just speak it. And you have to actually visually see it. You have to hear it at a certain frequency. When you play this game and you hear that little sound and just the video game and everything. Not that part, but this beginning part. That part is what we're listening for, and that can tell us what those would be. And but it would only be something that would be important. And so that would be the only one that I've gotten as a transmission so far. But I mean, you can try and fill it in, but it can, see, rap has 16 bars in it, Another cool thing that we could probably apply the word bars to is probably the fact that there are those bar machine gun rifles that are at, you know, military, you know, what used to be in like World War II. You know, that was called the bar, you know, and I don't know what it's called, but we have bars, you know, we have read it out of the kitchen. And it'll say it twice and it can be constantly replicated. If it loses that perfect tone, you know, and also, then that wouldn't be good. And also, you know, a 16 is how many bars we get in a song. So think about this. If you get a transmission, then it's something really useful. And you can speak the language of it. You know, you just have to know how to, you know, hit with the same little is that thing. You know, and then you could easily just, you know, like that, you know, or whatever the hell I was saying, you know, just anything that does that is how you speak in this language. And it's supposed to actually map it all out. And it kind of will have things you can bring up kind of like English, but I promise that it is super cool. And it's just using those little, you know, and I mean, it is a total language. You know, and it excites you. It is digital. It comes from the SNES. And I mean, I have, you know, I believe that, you know, as a religion, I think syndicate is one already, you know, because it has to do with the mafia. I think it's fucking awesome. It has something to do with family. So, you know, a weapon's a weapon. And so, you know, you can just, you know, is how it speaks it. And once you keep doing that, you'll have annoying sounds that'll kind of come up, like zits, for example, which you've always had, and, oh, I want some magnet cream! You know, and it's just not that, you know, sorry, busy bone, but no, you know, I don't think so, sir. So, you know, the thing is that there's things that you pay attention to all the time, and you know what? I'm fucking sick of there being, you know, a minor detail. I want it to be gigantic, and I want to see what we can get out of it. So when you can speak like that, you'll be pushing little, it's like, I mean, it's just like when mom, you know, my mom was chewing, she, you know, she had gum, you know, she blows a bubble and, you know, she pops it and pop, you know, a piece of gum, you know, and when it has the air compressed in it and you're chewing it on one of the annoying spots, you can push it out. You know, also, you know, dogs do it all the time, you know, they get tired of something, and then they just want to push it out, you know. Also, these codes also remind me of the coolest thing ever, which, let me show you what it is. Okay, and I don't know what the fuck's up with this, but, you know, do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do is 8. You know, and that's 8 combinations. Now, I'm not really sure if that's right or not, but I do know that, like I was doing in the last video, 16 times 15 times 14 times 13, you know, all the way down, you know, times 12, times 11, you know, times 10, all the way down to 1, you know, is 40,320 possible combinations. And this is just like just looking at, you know, if I'm confused and I don't listen to myself, this is like the Christian truth, you know, is that, you know, there's like 240 320s, you know, if you are confused. You know, but not with someone, you know, not like that, but like Confucius, like no, like if you are deceived basically by, you know, a possible, whatever, I don't know, death, or, you know, whatever they say, don't offer the thing, or whatever, you know, don't get the offer, you know, whatever, you know, there's 4, like if that, I mean, you know, that's how many combinations you would see. But if you multiply, I mean, if it was 8, okay, if read it out of the kitchen and read it out of the kitchen is 2 of the same ones, then read it out of the kitchen can't be something that can be skipped on. And that's how this thing works. It's chipset. You know, so it's very digital and very true. You know, very, very, you know, so, you know, like that. So, what we do in English, if we are going to molest or be perverted, we will look at these and go red dead and go red dead, you know, and then we'll change it to another word. You know, that is the problem, you know, is that this is not a word. It is just the thing, you know, and it probably is, you know, I mean, I would probably say that it has, you know, another 8 here. So it's probably, you know, a combination of, let's just say, you know, 8 different of these. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, because there's chich in there. And I don't know, but I mean, if I was going to make some art and see how cool it could be and if it would work, then I would add the chich and stuff and figure out how that thing worked in there, you know, and but anyway, so yeah, 4320 and then 4320 is what we'll be looking at if we're deceived, because that's only half of 8, because that's 8 times 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then you have the offer over here in this hand, you know, and it says, hey, would you like to sign your, you know, soul over to Jesus or the devil, because he's a freaking gangster, you know, and that's what he always did anyway. You know, if you are confused or just want to look at that, you know, or whatever. But I mean, that's the I mean, that's not, when you're seeing triple, you know what I'm saying? Okay, I mean, I know that's even, you know, I mean, if you look at like, okay, if you look at 3, 1/3, and then you look at, you know, double, you know, you will get, you know, basic, I don't know, you get like half or something, I don't know. But, you know, half of that is false. So you'd have to be able to realize that with this thing working and using the correct math, instead of using such simple math that is just little baby numbers that, you know, we don't need religion anymore when it comes to that, you know, I mean, there's just no point in being deceived, you know, by 40,320 combinations, which is a small number, when we have, you know, the truth and the real truth here in our math, when we say we read it out of the kitchen, and it doesn't mean other stuff like go eat Chinese food and, you know, hey, let's go do some stuff, you know, because there's like, you know, 2 letters and all this other stuff about bullshit and dying, you know, and we can say no, you know, and you know, instead, you know, we're looking at 1 million, 1 billion, 1,902,000,000,000 71,808,000 combinations of the 16 if there were, instead of us, you know, seeing double with that. Now, if we were seeing double with that, now you could just imagine the fact that this is even doubled again, you know, to an infinite point, because you will be able to have truth. You know, you will be able to see double and know that this is still this finger and it isn't some other crap. You know, the molesting part. You know, this is what I'm trying to figure out. So if I could shoot and blast with this PP80, I think that I would be able to get rid of the things that, you know, has like still messing with semen and stuff, or just still touching the pussy, or just still eating a hamburger, still hurting my back from that time when I jumped off the cliff and I hurt my back because I was in the backwater. You know, so, you know, when you see double, you know, you should be good to go, you know, when you see in, you know, truth, 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 and it just keeps coming up and you know it's the truth, you know, because you have that willpower, you know. You know, I think that would be something that would be included in that syndicate, you know. So, I mean, look at that amazing math, and then just imagine your 16 bars, and then just imagine how boring it would be if you weren't me, and then you wanted to go to every single rap song that was interesting, and probably just Eminem, because he's the only one that's any good. I wish everyone was like him and just made more of his music, because he was really, really good, and not those imitators that, well, basically all of them are, except for somebody who does this type of shit and uses real math, not bullshit that looks like double half crap. Like me, you know, which he would do better than this, probably, or the same. But anyway, you know, that's a big probability. And, you know, just to see that I could be deceived looking at this larger probability, it looks almost just like the smaller one. You know, so, and then you could see how you could see this and you could see this, you know, and that's a huge probability. We can multiply it, see a common denominator, all kinds of shit, you know, and, but anyway, learning that, you know, and looking at like maybe the first syllable in one of the 16s, or just something that kind of sticks out and sounds like that command, would be really cool to check out in like probably like some 3 6 Mafia lyrics. I think that would be probably the coolest thing. You know, and my own lyrics, you know, because I love the game Populous. Peter Molyneux is a great video game developer. And, you know, I mean, the only reason I even thought of this name here, I think, is because I came up with it because it's so fucking cool. You know, and I thought, you know, if it's a PP80 and it isn't my penis, it'd have to be a blank. You know, and it wouldn't shoot anything because it's a real gun. It has all the statistics a gun would have if it's in here. And, you know, before the person even comes up, I have 10 minutes to prepare, you know, just to know that that said that. And I had no idea somebody was coming up. You know, and they had no idea. You know, but we did know. You know, we had a clue. We knew what was going on. We knew what was up. I just think that's cool to be in sync like that. You know, and being in sync is really, really important because you have to be in sync. You know, synchronization is synchronization. You know, it's really important, man. So anyway, you know, there's a lot to use with that language, and, you know, I think it'd be fun to just practice that with people. I want to learn how to speak it. Let's learn it.